Captain Jace Arden sat in the cockpit of the starship Valor, his fingers tapping lightly on the control panel. Outside the reinforced glass, Xylaris glimmered in the void like a sapphire, its oceans reflecting the light of two suns. The planet had been a mystery for decades. Intelligence reports called it rich in resources and dangers, inhabited by a species far more advanced than humans had yet met. Today, Jace was about to see it for himself. Brace for atmospheric entry. The pilot's voice crackled over the intercom. Jace took a deep breath. This mission was reconnaissance, but he knew from experience that reconnaissance often turned into survival. The Valor shuddered as it pierced Xylaris' atmosphere. Clouds of violet and gold swirled below, lightning arcing through storm systems in patterns that seemed deliberate, almost intelligent. The beauty of it made Jace pause. Humanity had always looked to the stars and imagined wonders, but nothing had prepared him for this. They landed in a clearing surrounded by towering crystalline trees. The ship's landing thrusters kicked up sparkling dust that glimmered like tiny stars. Jace opened the cockpit hatch and stepped onto the planet's surface. The air was thick but breathable, sweet with an unfamiliar scent that reminded him faintly of pine and honey. His boots crunched on the crystalline soil. "Keep your sensors active," Jace muttered to himself. "We don't know what's out here." As he scanned the area, a ripple of movement caught his eye. Shadows moved unnaturally among the trees, then emerged into the clearing. Tall, elegant figures approached, lithe, almost humanoid, but their skin shimmered with metallic hues. Their eyes glowed softly, intelligent and curious. Jace raised a hand slowly, showing he meant no harm. One of them, taller than the rest and with a crown-like crest on its head, stepped forward. The crown's points glimmered like spun silver. "I am Valera," the creature said, her voice calm and melodic, yet commanding. "You are far from your world, human. Why have you come to Xylaris?" Jace's heart pounded. This was the alien queen herself, the leader of a species that humans had only studied from afar. "I'm Captain Jace Arden," he said, keeping his voice steady. "I come in peace to learn about your planet, your people, and to see if we can work together." Valera studied him, her glowing eyes narrowing and widening in curiosity. "Humans are known to be unpredictable," she said. "Your kind has survived against odds that should have destroyed it. I sense potential in you." Before Jace could respond, another figure, a guard he assumed, stepped forward, their posture stiff, almost military. Valera raised a hand and the guard froze, bowing slightly. "We do not act without our queen," she said. "But you are interesting, human. Come with me." Jace followed, his mind racing. Every step they took seemed to hum with energy. The path led into a grand city, built from the same crystalline material that covered the ground. Towers spiraled into the sky, reflecting the sunlight in a dazzling display of colors. The streets were empty, but Jace sensed movement everywhere, creatures watching, assessing. "You are quiet," Valera said, glancing at him. "I find silence either foolish or brave." "Which are you, human?" "Hopefully brave," Jace replied with a small grin. "Foolishness isn't usually intentional." Valera's lips curved slightly. "Interesting." They reached a massive palace at the city's center. The doors opened silently as they approached, and inside the air shimmered with a soft light. Walls and floors were smooth crystal, but faint lines glowed with energy, like the planet itself was alive, or at least part of it. "This is the heart of Xylaris," Valera said. "Only the most trusted of my people may enter. Yet I allow you here, that is unusual for humans." Jace's eyes widened. "I'm honored, Queen Valera. Truly." "Do not flatter me," she replied, walking past him into a chamber filled with glowing symbols floating in midair. "We do not value empty words. We value actions." Jace nodded, feeling the weight of the moment. Humanity often relied on courage and ingenuity. Perhaps those traits, combined with his instinct and experience, would earn him trust here. As he looked around, the floating symbols rearranged themselves, forming what appeared to be a three-dimensional map of the planet. Jace studied it carefully. He realized that Valera's people had mapped Xylaris in a way humans could never have imagined. Ecosystems, weather patterns, even population movements of the creatures native to the planet were displayed in glowing detail. "Your technology is advanced," Jace said cautiously, "but not incomprehensible. Humans can adapt." Valera's eyes glimmered. "Adaptation, yes. That is why I watch you carefully. Humans survive, but do you understand how to thrive here? Before Jace could answer, a sudden alarm echoed through the chamber. The glowing symbols pulsed rapidly. Valira's eyes widened in concern. "An intruder approaches," she said. "It is not human." Jace instinctively reached for his sidearm, but Valira waved him back. "Do not worry. Stand back and observe." Through the crystalline walls, a creature appeared. A massive predator with translucent skin revealing glowing veins beneath. Its multiple limbs moved with terrifying precision. The chamber shook as it approached, each step leaving faint scorches on the crystal floor. Jace's mind raced. This was a test or an attack. Either way, humans had faced danger before, and improvisation was a human strength. He scanned the room, noticing the floating symbols. An idea sparked. He pointed toward a section of the map. "Valira, the energy nodes, redirect them toward the creature." Valira's eyes widened in surprise. "You understand our energy systems?" "Just enough," Jace said. "Trust me." With a nod, Valira gestured, and the symbols responded to his command. Beams of focused energy shot from the walls and floor, striking the creature. It shrieked, retreating, then vanished into the crystal walls. Silence fell. Jace lowered his weapon, his heart still racing. Valira regarded him with an expression that was almost admiration. "You are remarkable human," she said softly. "You did not panic. You observed. You acted. You may yet teach us something." Jace felt a mixture of relief and pride. "I just did what humans do best. Adapt and survive." Valira studied him for a long moment, then turned toward the chamber's exit. "Come, there's much to discuss. Your presence here will not go unnoticed. Some will see you as a threat. Others, as an ally. You must decide quickly where you stand." As they walked through the corridors of crystal, Jace realized that his mission had changed. This was no longer simple reconnaissance. He was now a participant in something far bigger, an encounter that could shape the future of both human and Xylarian civilizations. He also realized something else. This planet, with its beauty, intelligence, and danger, had a rhythm, a life of its own. And humans, unpredictable and resourceful, had a chance not just to survive but to inspire. By the time they reached a grand hall filled with alien leaders, Jace knew one thing for certain. The story of humans on Xylaris was only beginning, and he, Captain Jace Arden, would be at the heart of it. The grand hall of the Xylarian palace was unlike anything Jace had ever seen. Crystal columns spiraled toward the high ceiling, casting shimmering reflections across the room. Floating platforms moved silently, carrying alien leaders who observed him with cautious curiosity. Some tilted their heads, examining his every movement. Others whispered among themselves, their glowing eyes flickering with intrigue. Jace stepped carefully, aware that his every action was under scrutiny. "Stay calm," he muttered to himself. "Humans survive by thinking, not by panicking." Valira led him to a raised platform in the center. "These are the Council of Elders," she said, her voice carrying easily despite the chamber's size. "They guide Xylarian society. They will decide how to regard your presence. Speak carefully, human." Jace nodded. He knew that diplomacy would be as dangerous as any battle. Words could provoke conflict, while clever ideas could earn trust. "I come as an observer," he began. "I wish to understand your people, your planet, and to see if humans and Xylarians can learn from each other." A murmur ran through the council. One elder stepped forward, a tall figure whose skin reflected a deep violet hue. "Humans are unpredictable," the elder said. "Your kind is said to survive wars, disasters, and catastrophes. Yet you are strangers. Why should we trust you?" Jace squared his shoulders. "Trust is earned," he said, "not given. I do not expect blind acceptance. I only ask for the chance to prove that humans can be allies, not enemies." The elders whispered among themselves, their glowing eyes scanning his every motion. Finally, Valira spoke. "Your words are honest, that is rare." She paused, studying him. "But honesty alone does not suffice. Show us your mind, human. Show us your value." Jace felt a thrill of challenge. Humans thrived when facing problems that seemed impossible. He straightened and said, "If you allow me, I will solve a problem that has troubled your people for months." The council turned as one, their attention fully on him. "Explain," Valira commanded. "Your sensors," Jace said, pointing to a glowing holographic map floating above the platform. "They show unusual activity near your northern sector, creatures attacking your border outposts. I can help predict their movements and create a strategy to protect your people." The elders murmured in surprise. Prediction and strategy were not common among Xylarians. They relied on observation and energy manipulation, but humans applied logic in unpredictable ways. Valera raised her hand. Proceed. Jace studied the map. The northern sector was dense with crystalline forests and jagged cliffs. Sensors indicated movement patterns of massive creatures, predators with intelligence rivaling small human units. They hunt in coordinated packs, Jace explained. They are not mindless. They adapt to defense measures, but I think I can anticipate their attacks. He began to mark patterns on the floating map with his hand. Lines traced the likely paths of the creatures. He calculated the energy output needed to create deterrence without harming the environment. He suggested setting traps that leverage the predator's instincts, creating safe zones for Xylarians while redirecting the threat. Valera watched him closely. You rely on prediction, not only on strength. This is unusual for humans. Strength is useful, Jace admitted, but survival often depends on thinking ahead, not just fighting. After a tense silence, one elder said, "Your plan is unconventional, but it could work. It shows understanding, not just aggression." Valera nodded. "You are learning our ways quickly, human. Perhaps faster than we expected." Over the next several days, Jace worked with the Xylarians to implement his strategy. At first, his methods met resistance. Xylarians valued precision and control, while humans relied on improvisation and adaptation. But as the predators attacked the northern sector, Jace's predictions proved accurate. His traps worked, guiding the creatures away from villages and minimizing harm. Valera observed quietly, occasionally offering subtle adjustments. By the end of the first week, Jace's ideas had not only saved lives but inspired the Xylarians to consider new ways of problem-solving. "You humans are fascinating," Valera said one evening as they walked through a glowing garden in the palace. Bioluminescent plants lit their path, their petals moving like slow waves in the air. "You are clever, unpredictable, and courageous. Yet you also show restraint. That is rare," Jace smiled. "We survive because we have to. But I think humans also grow stronger when we learn from others. I can adapt, yes, but I also learn quickly." Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden alarm. The palace trembled as an energy surge rippled through the city. Valera stiffened. "The northern sector. Something is wrong." Jace's heart raced. He followed her to the map room. The holographic projection showed the creatures moving differently, faster, more coordinated, as if aware of the traps. "They've adapted," he said. "Faster than I predicted. Something or someone is controlling them." Valera's eyes narrowed. "We have not seen this before. This is troubling." Jace scanned the energy readings. He realized the predators were responding to faint energy pulses coming from deep within the northern forests. "Someone is using the environment against us," he said. "We need to act fast," Valera nodded, gathering her counsel. "Prepare a response team. Human, you will lead." Jace felt the weight of responsibility. Leading Xylarians was no small task, but humans had faced impossible odds before. He studied the map, identified safe paths, and planned a route to intercept the source of the energy pulses. His mind raced, combining instinct and logic. As they moved into the northern forest, the crystal trees glowed eerily under the twin suns. Shadows shifted in unnatural patterns, and the air buzzed with energy. The predators moved silently, circling their group. Jace signaled to the Xylarian guards. "Stay calm. Don't attack until they commit. Watch their patterns. Predict their next move." The first predator lunged. Jace anticipated its trajectory and redirected an energy barrier, forcing it into a containment field. Another followed, and Jace adapted the traps in real time, guiding the remaining creatures away from the team. Valera watched from the side, impressed. "You do not merely react," she said. "You anticipate. That is human strength." Hours passed intense coordination. Finally, they reached the source of the energy pulses. A small device, alien in design but clearly manipulative. It emitted subtle signals that controlled the predator's behavior. Jace quickly disabled it using a combination of Xylarian energy control and human ingenuity. The creatures scattered, returning to their natural behaviors. The northern sector was safe once more. Valera approached Jace, her eyes glowing softly. "You have done what many of my people could not. You have saved lives not by strength alone, but by foresight and courage." Jace nodded, exhausted but satisfied. Humans survive by thinking and sometimes by working together. I only used what comes naturally to us. Valira regarded him with a mixture of respect and curiosity. Perhaps there is more for your kind here than we first imagined. Perhaps humans are not only survivors, perhaps you are teachers as well. Jace smiled faintly. Maybe we all have something to teach each other. That night, as he stood on the palace balcony overlooking the shimmering city, Jace realized something profound. Humans were far from home, surrounded by a species more advanced and alien than any he had encountered. Yet his mind, his adaptability, and his courage had not only kept him alive, they had earned respect. He thought of Earth, of the countless humans who had survived wars, disasters, and hardship. That resilience was now being recognized across the stars, and for the first time he felt that humanity could be more than just survivors. They could be allies, innovators, and partners in a universe filled with wonders and dangers beyond imagination. Jace knew this was only the beginning. Zalaris held mysteries, challenges, and opportunities. But one thing was certain. Humans, with all their unpredictability and courage, were not to be underestimated. The northern forests of Xylaris had settled into an uneasy quiet. The energy pulses that had once controlled the predators were gone, but the memory of their coordinated attacks lingered in the minds of both humans and Xylarians. Captain Jace Arden walked alongside Queen Valira through the crystalline streets of the capital, the soft light reflecting off the towers like 1,000 tiny suns. "You handled the situation well," Valira said, her melodic voice calm but filled with an edge of authority. "But there is more to this planet than creatures and energy pulses. There are other forces that may not welcome your presence." Jace nodded, his eyes scanning the horizon. Humans had faced enemies that seemed impossible, yet they always found a way to adapt. He had learned quickly that Xylaris was not a planet to be tamed with brute force. Here, strategy, observation, and cooperation were the keys. "I am ready," he said. "Tell me what comes next." Valira led him to the Hall of Knowledge, a massive chamber filled with floating books, glowing maps, and data streams that shimmered like rain. "This is where we study our world," she explained. "We predict weather, energy flows, predator behavior, and even the movement of neighboring systems. But there are gaps in our understanding. You human may help fill them." Jace approached a glowing map that displayed not only Xylaris but its surrounding star systems. "These readings, they're different from anything humans use," he said. "But patterns are universal. I think I can understand." "Try," Valira encouraged. For hours, Jace worked alongside her scholars tracing energy flows, predicting changes in predator behavior, and suggesting improvements to their defenses. His methods were unfamiliar. Humans often relied on intuition combined with observation, but they worked. Slowly, the scholars began to adopt his techniques, integrating human logic into Xylarian science. By the end of the day, Valira observed him quietly. "You do not merely survive, human," she said. "You improve. You teach. That is not a common trait among your kind." Jace smiled faintly. "We learn quickly when we need to, and I've never faced a planet like this before." Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden alarm. The sky over the city darkened as a massive energy storm approached. Unlike the usual storms of Xylaris, this one pulsed with strange, unnatural rhythms. The city trembled as the storm drew closer. "Not natural," Valira said sharply. "This is deliberate," Jace's mind raced. Humans had learned to survive natural disasters, but deliberate storms, controlled, weaponized weather, were a new challenge. "We need to find the source," he said. "If someone controls the storm, they control the city." Valira nodded. "Take a team. I will support you with energy barriers. Move quickly." Jace assembled a small group of Xylarians and humans, each carrying specialized equipment. As they moved through the city streets, lightning-like energy arcs danced across crystalline towers, striking unpredictably. Jace's heart pounded, but his mind remained sharp. Every human instinct, every lesson from past battles guided him. "Watch the patterns," he shouted. "These strikes are not random. They follow a rhythm." The team adjusted their movements, avoiding strikes and reaching the source, a massive crystalline spire at the city's edge, pulsing with energy. Inside, they discovered an alien device, unfamiliar even to Xylarian technology, generating the storm and sending pulses through the city. Jace studied it carefully. "It's not purely Xylarian," he said. "It's hybrid. Someone adapted your energy systems for destruction, but I think I can disable it." Valera's eyes narrowed. Be careful. This device may respond to interference. Using a combination of human engineering and Xylarian energy manipulation, Jace carefully redirected the energy flows, stabilizing the device and gradually shutting it down. The storm dissipated, leaving the city battered but intact. When the team returned, Valera studied him with admiration. You act with caution yet decisiveness. That is a rare combination. Xylarian leaders often hesitate, humans often rush. You balance both, Jace shrugged. Humans survive because we think on our feet. Adapt, improvise, act. You've done well to trust me. Their partnership grew stronger over the following days. Jace taught the Xylarians new strategies for defense and coordination, while learning their advanced techniques in energy manipulation and environmental control. Slowly, the council began to respect him, not merely as a visitor, but as a valuable advisor. However, not everyone welcomed his presence. Some Xylarians whispered in the shadows, questioning the wisdom of trusting a human. We have survived for millennia, one elder said to another. Do we need outsiders to teach us? Valera overheard but did not respond immediately. Instead, she observed Jace quietly as he led a training exercise with young Xylarians, teaching them coordination and problem-solving in simulated predator attacks. His methods were unconventional, but the students thrived, showing creativity and resilience. After the session, Valera approached him. Your influence grows, she said softly. Some see it as a threat. Jace nodded. That is expected. Humans are not native here. But if we work together, the results speak louder than fear. Their conversation was interrupted by a messenger from the council. Queen Valera, the messenger said, reports of unusual activity near the southern border. Unknown ships have been detected entering Xylarian space. Jace's eyes narrowed. Intruders, not native to this system. We need to investigate, Valera agreed. Take a team. Human, you will lead. Jace gathered a mixed squad of humans and Xylarians. As they approached the southern border, sensors detected several small ships moving in formation. Jace studied their patterns. They are probing defenses, he said. Not ready for battle yet, but they are testing our reactions. He devised a plan, using Xylarian cloaking technology combined with human tactics. They set a series of traps and observation points, predicting the enemy's movements. When the intruders attempted to advance, they found themselves redirected, their ships carefully guided away from populated areas without direct conflict. Valera watched the operation from her command station. You act with foresight yet minimize harm, she said. That is admirable. Humans have a different way of understanding consequences than we do. Jace smiled faintly. We have to. If we act without thinking, we survive, but we destroy. I prefer survival with purpose. After the operation, the intruders retreated, confused but unharmed. The Xylarians praised the human strategy, noting that it prevented potential disaster. Even skeptics on the council began to acknowledge Jace's value. That evening, Valera invited Jace to the palace garden. The twin suns were setting, casting long golden reflections across the crystalline flora. You have done more than survive here, she said. You have taught, guided, and protected. That is not the way of an outsider, it is the way of a leader. Jace looked at her, humbled. I've only done what humans do best. Adapt, learn, and act. You've welcomed us, allowed us to help. That makes it possible. Valera's eyes softened. Perhaps humans are not only allies. Perhaps they are partners in the truest sense. Together we could protect Xylaris and expand our understanding of the galaxy. Jace felt a stirring of pride. Humans had often been underestimated across the stars. Here on Xylaris, their ingenuity, courage, and adaptability were not only recognized, they were valued. As night fell over the crystalline city, the stars of distant systems twinkled in the sky. Jace knew the challenges were far from over. Unknown enemies lurked in the galaxy, and Xylaris itself held mysteries still unsolved. But for the first time, he felt that humans were not just visitors, they were participants, capable of shaping the destiny of worlds beyond their own. The crystalline towers of Xylaris glimmered under the twin suns, but the light was no longer comforting. Scouts had returned with urgent reports. A fleet of unknown warships had entered Xylarian space. Unlike the small probing vessels they had faced earlier, these ships were large, armed, and moving with precision. The council called an emergency session. Captain Jace Arden stood among the Xylarians, feeling the weight of responsibility heavier than ever. Humans had faced impossible odds before, but this was different. These enemies were powerful, and the technology they used seemed partially unknown. But humans had one strength that no machine could replace: creativity under pressure. Valira addressed the council, her voice calm but firm. The intruders are formidable. Our defenses alone may not hold. We must combine our forces with those of humans. Captain Arden will lead joint operations. Whispers echoed through the hall. Some Xylarians were skeptical. Trusting a human with command of their forces was unprecedented. Jace met their skeptical eyes with calm confidence. "I won't ask you to follow blindly," he said. "I'll show you what we can do together. Adaptability and strategy will win this fight, not brute strength." The council agreed, albeit reluctantly. Preparations began immediately. Humans and Xylarians worked side by side, reinforcing defensive shields, developing coordinated attack strategies, and training troops in hybrid tactics. Jace taught rapid response techniques that relied on intuition and improvisation, while Xylarians provided their precise energy manipulation and environmental control skills. Valira observed him, her eyes glowing softly. "Humans are unpredictable," she said, "but unpredictability can be an advantage. I trust your judgment, Captain." Days later, the enemy fleet appeared on the horizon, massive and imposing. Their ships moved like predators, scanning for weaknesses. Jace studied the enemy formation carefully. "They rely on strict formation and predictable patterns," he said. "We'll use that against them." He devised a plan that combined human tactics and Xylarian technology. Small, fast squads would lure enemy ships into traps where larger Xylarian forces would strike. Energy barriers would redirect attacks, while humans would target weak points using unconventional methods. The battle began at first light. Enemy ships opened fire, their weapons tearing through space with destructive energy beams. Xylarians responded with precise shields, deflecting most attacks. Jace's squads moved quickly, drawing the enemy into carefully prepared zones. The strategy worked, but not without tension. A squad of human pilots found themselves surrounded by enemy fighters. Jace's mind raced. Using an untested maneuver, he directed Xylarian energy waves to create a temporary diversion. The humans escaped and the enemy formation fractured. Valira coordinated the Xylarian fleet from her command tower. "Captain Arden, your tactics are unconventional but effective," she said. "Do not falter." Hours passed in a blur of movement and energy. Jace directed human and Xylarian forces with precision, adapting to every twist of the battle. The enemy was strong, but they were not prepared for this combined approach. Humans' quick thinking, combined with Xylarians' precise energy manipulation, created a synergy the invaders could not overcome. Finally, the enemy commander realized defeat was imminent. Their fleet retreated, disappearing beyond Xylarian space. A cheer erupted among the defenders, though the city was battered and some casualties had been taken. Jace and Valira surveyed the scene. "You did it," Valira said, her voice soft but proud. "Not by strength alone, but by strategy, foresight, and courage. You have proven humans can be more than allies, they can lead." Jace shook his head. "We did it together. Your people adapted to new tactics, trusted unfamiliar strategies. That made this possible." The council, previously skeptical, now approached Jace with respect. "Your leadership saved us," one elder said. "We underestimated humans. You are not only survivors, but innovators, capable of teaching even the most advanced species." Valera nodded. "Captain Arden, you have strengthened Xylaris in ways we could not have imagined. Our alliance is now solid, and our enemies know the strength of humans and Xylarians united." The following weeks were spent repairing the city, reinforcing defenses, and preparing for future threats. Jace worked closely with Valira, developing strategies that combined human adaptability with Xylarians' advanced energy systems. Training programs were established, teaching young Xylarians human tactics while humans learned energy manipulation techniques. During a quiet evening, Valira approached Jace in the palace garden. The twin suns were low, casting a golden glow over the crystalline flora. "You have changed Xylaris, Captain," she said. "Your presence has taught us to see differently. Your species' unpredictability is a strength we underestimated." Jace looked at her, humbled. "Humans have always survived by learning and adapting. If we can do that here together, imagine what we could accomplish across the galaxy." Valira smiled faintly. "Perhaps this is only the beginning." Your people may hold keys to knowledge and strategies we have yet to consider. Together we may become guardians not just of Xylaris but of systems beyond our reach. Jace nodded. Humans are ready to rise to that challenge. We fight not only for survival but for understanding, for alliances, for the chance to grow stronger together. In the weeks that followed, Jace and Valera strengthened the Human-Xylarian alliance. Joint expeditions explored Xylaris' unexplored regions, uncovering hidden ecosystems and ancient alien ruins. Humans' ingenuity allowed them to solve environmental puzzles, navigate treacherous terrains, and understand alien technology in ways even Xylarians had overlooked. One discovery stood out. A hidden chamber deep within a crystal cave, filled with energy crystals that pulsed in response to thought and emotion. Jace realized that humans' ability to think creatively and approach problems from unique angles made them ideal candidates to interact with this ancient technology. Valera observed quietly as Jace experimented with the crystals. Your mind works differently from ours, she said. You do not just follow patterns, you create them. That may be the key to understanding this place. Indeed, through careful experimentation, Jace unlocked a sequence that stabilized the crystals, revealing a map of nearby star systems and potential threats, knowledge that had been hidden for centuries. The Alliance now had intelligence that could prepare them for future dangers, giving humans and Xylarians a strategic advantage. Even the skeptics among the Council began to acknowledge Jace's value. We judged humans too quickly, one elder admitted. They are not only adaptable, they are innovators, capable of guiding even our most experienced leaders. Valera turned to Jace one evening, her glowing eyes reflecting the Crystal City lights. You have changed Xylaris, human. Your species has proven that courage, creativity, and adaptability can overcome even the most advanced threats. Jace smiled faintly. We've only begun. The galaxy is full of challenges, and humans have always faced challenges head-on. Here we found allies, friends, and a place where our skills matter. That is more than survival, it is purpose. The city of Xylaris had begun to heal. The twin suns reflected off crystalline towers, casting soft golden light across streets where humans and Xylarians moved together as allies. What had once been a place of caution and mistrust now buzzed with collaboration, innovation, and hope. Captain Jace Arden walked alongside Queen Valera through the palace gardens, the bioluminescent flora glowing softly under the fading light. The air was fragrant with alien blossoms, each one responding to movement and thought, their colors shifting in harmony with the visitors' emotions. It was peaceful, almost surreal. But Jace knew better than to assume the peace would last forever. The galaxy had dangers beyond imagination, and Xylaris now had a secret that others might covet. You have done much for our people, human, Valera said. Her glowing eyes reflected pride. The Council has formally recognized your contributions. Humans are no longer outsiders here. You have earned a place among Xylaris' guardians. Jace smiled faintly, humbled by the praise. We did it together. Humans may adapt and survive, but without your trust and your people's cooperation, none of this would have been possible. Valera nodded. True, yet your presence has done more than protect us. You have taught us new ways to think, to plan, to act. That is a gift few species can offer. Their walk was interrupted by a group of young Xylarians and humans running toward them, carrying energy crystals and small devices. They stopped at Jace's feet, their eyes wide with excitement. Captain Arden! Queen Valera! One of the children said. We have stabilized the training crystals. They now respond to both human and Xylarian minds. You taught us to combine our skills, and now they work perfectly. Jace knelt to examine the devices. Well done, he said. This is the future. Humans and Xylarians working side by side, learning from each other. That is how we grow stronger. Valera watched with a faint smile. It seems your influence will endure, human. Even the youngest understand the value of cooperation, adaptation, and courage. The sense of peace was interrupted by an urgent message from the Council. Another fleet had been detected at the edge of Xylarian space, moving cautiously, perhaps observing the Alliance. Jace studied the readings carefully. They are not attacking yet, but they are watching. They may test us soon. Valera placed a hand on his arm. We have faced threats before and we survived. This alliance will stand because humans do not fear challenges, and Xylarians, when guided wisely, are formidable. Over the next weeks, Jace worked tirelessly with Valera and the Council to strengthen defenses, improve communication, and train both species in hybrid tactics. Humans taught improvisation and rapid response, while Xylarians shared their advanced energy systems, environmental manipulation, and precise coordination. The joint teams became a symbol of cooperation, a living example of what could be accomplished when two species worked together instead of apart. One evening, as Jace rested in the palace observatory, he reflected on how far they had come. When he first arrived, humans were outsiders, observed with suspicion and curiosity. Now their presence was not only accepted, it was celebrated. Humans had shown courage, ingenuity, and compassion. They had proven that even in an alien world, their strengths mattered. Valira joined him, her gaze on the stars beyond Xylaris. "You have changed our perception, Captain Arden. Humanity is no longer a distant species, a subject of curiosity. You have shown us that courage, intelligence, and adaptability can alter the course of history." Jace nodded. "That is what humans do. We face challenges, we learn, and we overcome. Here we have found allies. Together, we can do more than survive. We can thrive." In the following months, humans and Xylarians embarked on joint exploratory missions. They discovered new regions of the planet, untapped energy sources, and even ancient ruins filled with knowledge lost to time. Jace's human intuition often guided them to solutions that Xylarians had overlooked. Every success reinforced the idea that humans were not only capable allies but indispensable partners. One discovery, however, was particularly significant: a chamber deep beneath the crystalline mountains, filled with ancient Xylarian artifacts. Jace studied the artifacts with care. "These are advanced, older than anything recorded," he said. "But if we combine our approaches, human creativity and Xylarian precision, we can unlock their secrets." Valira observed quietly as he worked. Hours passed, and slowly the chamber responded. Energy flowed through the artifacts, revealing a map of nearby star systems and potential threats long forgotten. This knowledge could prepare them for challenges that even the Xylarians had not anticipated. "You have done more than fight and survive, Captain Arden," Valira said softly. "You have expanded our understanding. That is a legacy that will endure far beyond this moment." Jace looked at her, feeling a sense of quiet pride. "I only applied what humans do naturally. We adapt, we innovate, we learn. Here, we've combined those strengths with yours. That is the true power. Cooperation." Word of their achievements spread quickly across Xylaris. Humans were celebrated not as conquerors or outsiders, but as partners and teachers. Even skeptics in the council came to acknowledge the value of their contributions. "They are different," one elder said. "Yet in that difference they bring wisdom and strength. Humans are a species to respect." Valira and Jace knew, however, that their work was not complete. The galaxy was vast and threats were endless. But they had established something extraordinary: a bond between species built on trust, respect, and shared purpose. One night, as the twin suns set and the city bathed in soft light, Valira turned to Jace. "Captain Arden, the legacy you leave is not only in victories or discoveries, it is in hearts and minds. Humans have inspired Xylarians to think differently, to act boldly, and to value courage and creativity above all." Jace smiled. "And Xylarians have shown humans that precision, patience, and understanding can make even the greatest strength more powerful. Together we are better than either alone." The two stood in silence, watching the city glow with life and energy. In that moment, they both understood that this alliance would endure. Humans and Xylarians would face whatever challenges the galaxy held, united by trust, respect, and the realization that cooperation was the most powerful weapon of all. The next day, the Council officially declared the first human Xylarian Academy, a place where knowledge, tactics, and innovation would be shared freely between the species. Jace was named honorary leader, responsible for guiding young minds in both human and Xylarian methods. The Academy became a beacon of hope. Humans taught problem-solving, rapid response, and adaptability. Xylarians taught energy manipulation, strategy, and environmental control. Students of both species learned to combine these skills, preparing a generation capable of facing any challenge together. Years later, Captain Jace Arden looked over the city from the palace balcony. Children laughed as they practiced techniques, humans and Xylarians side by side. Ships launched on exploratory missions and new discoveries flowed in daily. The city had become a symbol of unity and progress, a shining example of what could happen when differences were embraced rather than feared. Valira joined him, her eyes reflecting pride and hope. "This is only the beginning, human," she said. "You have shown what courage, intelligence, and cooperation can achieve. Xylaris and humanity now share a future." Jace nodded, gazing at the horizon where the twin suns met the stars. "And we will face it together. Whatever comes, humans will not only survive, we will inspire, innovate, and protect. That is what we do." In the years to come, the story of the human warrior and the alien queen became legend. It was told to children on both worlds, a tale of courage, creativity, and respect. Humans were no longer outsiders, they were partners, teachers, and defenders. And the galaxy, vast and full of wonders and dangers, had come to recognize that humans were a species capable of greatness.